Great Gragas game there for Huey. So if King's jungler is the one that's kind of getting his champion pool refined and finding his picks, that's great news for King because Huey's not necessarily the weakest member of the team, but he feels like the most limited one. So if he's branching out more, that's excellent news for King.
And it's such an important pick and champion to be able to have in your pool, especially when Yasuo is so potent as a flex pick for your team. Because obviously, I mean, it's super obvious the synergy that those champions have. Obviously, the knockup being able to empower Yasuo's ultimate.
Yeah, and we saw it there from King all game one long. So we'll see what happens here in this draft as King on the blue side now. Kalista gets banned away from them. Makes sense by QG. I don't want to give that away to King as a first pick, but an Annie ban to start things off.
Again, TCT really only shows up on very limited champion pools. Did have a Braum, had some really nice ultimates last game, but Annie and Janna have really been his big go-tos, as well as Sivir for TNT. So we'll see if King high prioritizes that in their draft phase again as a denial against TNT.
Echo banned away as well, so King not willing to first pick it here, but want to take it away from Swift in particular.
Curious.
Gragas banned as well, actually, which opens up the potential first pick, Rek'Sai pick here for King. Swift's Nidalee looked good in the early game, but he couldn't quite convert in the team fights, I felt like.
I'm actually really surprised that they banned Echo from blue side, especially because Korn has one of the most impressive mid lane echoes of any mid laner in the LPL. Tells me that they have something else, and I think it, again, kind of points back to Sivir, you know, that being the priority denial from TNT.
What's also not a victor is they're going to ban that away from themselves. Don't want to pick that one up either, but do want to take it away from Doinby, who looked like the best player on QG's side, playing that champion in game number 1. And a Rek'Sai ban there from QG opens up the insta-lock Rise.
Okay, so we'll see whose hands this goes into now. Again, it is a flex pick. Both Insec and Korn can play this champion. I would say it's actually more likely to go into the hands of Korn. So we'll see if Insect doesn't end back up on Vladimir, especially because, again, Hemoplague with the bounce damage from Rise can be pretty absurd.
Yeah, Rise, again, did get tweaked in this patch. He's not nearly as strong in the early game, but he still scales up just fine. Still an absolutely massive threat there as QG now looking for their next 2 picks. They're going to consider Thresh. I like that pick a lot from TCT. Might be taking that one up, but they're already looking at this as the top lane. No, they do swap it away.
Good.
Yeah, Sivir and Thresh make sense here for QG.
They had to take Sivir here. There's no way. Again, so we always talk about this in kind of rotations, that if you see a first pick Hecarim, that you have to take Sivir on second rotation because you can't let those champions be together. I want to emphasize exactly the same thing for Rise. He is a 600 range snare, and once he gets a hold of you, he just blows you up. The problem is that he doesn't have any gap closer or mobility to get on top of you. Who helps him with that? Sivir. So you have to take that away.
Yeah, it's also been Name's best looking champion, honestly, all split there as well. So no surprises there to see that taken away from QG. Smart drafting here early on. And King now considering their next few. Zero is going to revisit the Janna pick, so King, seems like Zero at least, has been taking himself quite seriously. And they consider Fizz for someone, but instead they take Lee Sin.
And again, we go back to the idea of augmenting Rise's ability to get on top of you or to catch up with you. And, you know, if you can't get Sivir for the On the Hunt, you can get Janna for the Tailwind. Now, obviously, it's not global, but back when Janna's passive was global, Janna gave Rise a huge boost in his win rate, just making him move faster. So again, just emphasizing how important it is to speed Rise up.
Yeah. Could also maybe get the Talisman, which got changed a couple patches ago. So
40-second cooldown.
Mini Sivir ulti, not too bad there. If King do want to take that for themselves. Seems like we're considering Nidalee again, though, for Xiao Gu, but see exactly what they want to take for themselves here. 2 seconds left. They do swap away to Maokai. That'll be V's champion, which is a bit iffy potentially into that Rise. And Swift, once again, you have to think he's the one on Nidalee.
The 1v1 matchup, it's pretty much going to guarantee Rise a free lane if a lane swap doesn't come through. That said, Xiaogu do have a Sivir, and they're one of the teams that like to favor lane swaps. So I suspect that they'll try to put Insect down and behind in that direction. But Maokai, again, so the 1v1 gives Rise a free lane, but it's so important to have the Maelstrom. Vengeance, his ultimate.
Yep, Vengeful Maelstrom.
Vengeful Maelstrom to deny a lot of the AoE burst damage that Rise will be putting out.
Deny that away here. So smart pick there for comp there, QG. As King, what?
Is he playing Draven?
And there's the Yasuo once again for King. Again, another flex pick there, but Nautilus gets locked in as a response. That'll be the... What is this game?
That's a...
First of all, Name's playing Draven.
I've never seen Name play Draven. He's probably played it, undoubtedly, but I've never...
Like in solo queue?
I'll have to check the stats on it. I haven't seen Name play Draven. Yep, I haven't seen Name play Draven. That's a mid lane Nautilus.
Yep, by the way, Doinby hanging out with a mid lane Nautilus. Didn't swap that one with Swift. Still hasn't swapped it. That's what
We've
he wants.
seen Nautilus in the top lane. We've seen it in the jungle. They call him Titan. Clearlove debuted Jungle Nautilus.
Yep.
I've yet to see him in the mid lane. I'm curious if he's going to go for the same build. Now in the top lane, he does double Doran's rings, and it's all about the Riptide damage.
Still about the Riptide damage here, I can promise you. Let's go through these matchups. This will be fun. Insect on Rise versus V on the Maokai. So Insect was the one to get the Rise. It wasn't Korn.
I'm trying to remember if it was Xiaogu that did AP Maokai in LSPL. Do you remember that game?
Yes, but I don't remember who it was.
I believe it was Xiaogu, but I'll have to double check.
There's Name's Draven, if we didn't have any enough surprises here in this game. Versus Sivir, that is a good matchup, so I do like that part of it. And Zero back on Janna versus TCT's Thresh. The only calm place on the Rift is the supports.
I'm super excited for this mid lane.
I don't know what's happening, but I'm excited to find out. You know what? Let's just find out. We're about to get in the Rift for game number 2. Hello there. Welcome back to the LPL. Apparently nothing has changed. We took a week off and this is what happens. Second game of QG versus King. We're into only our third set of the weekend.
Please click on Nautilus.
Yeah, this is what it took.
Okay.
Doinby with the insta-lock mid Nautilus, by the way. TCT had it ready to go. He's got himself a Doran's ring there in the mid lane. Korn back with his Doran's shield, Yasuo. And I guess Doinby fancies the counter pick.
I'm looking at his runes, so he only has 15 AP with the Doran's ring. Did take the Biscuit, so maybe some interesting masteries right there. I'm really curious to see if he decided to go 21-0-9 or if he went 0-21-9, something like that. And how this is going to align with the top lane Nautilus that we're used to seeing in the LPL versus the mid lane Nautilus. Again, you are correct. It should be about empowering that Riptide. You do ridiculous amounts of damage, especially if you get all 3 procs off. Now, normally in top lane Nautilus, it's about itemizing early into the double Doran's rings and then going for your tanky stats. We'll see if it's more AP-oriented from the mid lane position.
We'll have to see. I mean, I don't mind it as a pick to some of these mobile carries. Honestly, Nautilus results really good against Insect, Korn, and Name. And King, once again, are running 3 threats here with Korn back on his Yasuo.
They've brought a lot more CC this time around, though. They do have the snare as well as the insect kick, if you will, from Huey.
Yep, well, that's hilarious, actually, that Lee Sin is the pick there from Huey with Insect on his team, but in the top lane. As we'll see how this works out here. Doinby hasn't actually skilled anything yet, so hanging out actually takes W first.
This is actually fairly common. This is what Aluka will do in the top lane with Nautilus. He's one of the first players to debut the top lane Nautilus, and it's just so he can walk into the creep wave, press his W, gets that free shield, and obviously, again, the thing about Nautilus's kit, as you see him chase Korn away, is that he's already riddled with CC. So even with W, he technically has a CC with his auto attack applying that stagger.
Makes sense. A little iffy early on against Yasuo as well, especially melee versus melee. As this is, for me, the really surprising part about this particular matchup.
Draven.
Yeah, Draven. And we've seen Draven into Sivir. This was Crystal's famous counter pick in Split 1, and he absolutely wrecked Sivir players with it. But Name playing Draven, this is really old school Name. Not Draven as a pick, but being a lane bully and really trying to bury a lane.
You're absolutely right. So the thing about Name is he used to be known as Devil when he played for Positive Energy and won his LPL title, and he was a very aggressive AD carry player. So people always like to think of Uzi and Name as kind of polar opposite in terms of, you know, position-based AD carry versus in-your-face, flash-onto you AD carry. The thing about Name is over the course of his career, he's shown both styles, but likewise so has Uzi recently.
Yeah, it's been good to see both those players still playing and mixing it up a bit as Doinby gets an awesome trade there in the mid lane. That wind wall was not fast enough to stop the dredge line as Swift is trying to steal the blue buff, but Huey's there, going to make sure he gets that one.
Nautilus is just so oppressive in a lane phase, especially if he's able to connect that dredge line with you and hit you with 3 procs to the Riptide. This is cute.
Yeah, Huey does not feel safe. He's actually got his
I
blue
wouldn't feel
buff
safe.
warded. Yeah, double buff Nidalee is pretty brutal. And Swift is going to force him off here, but he's actually looking for a gank on a Korn. Doinby going to try and line it up again. 5 seconds, the dredge line's back. Huey looking for a counter gank, and on the bottom lane, Name is just working the bottom lane. Oh, Huey goes in. Tornado lands. He's forced to flash over Huey because Swift is coming down as well. Jumps onto him. That should be first blood. Windwall's really good to buy some more time, but Swift does get the kill. The teleports down. Insect. Flash Nan takes out Doinby.
A little bit delayed right there. Swift thought that the red buff would tick down and take the first blood for him. Didn't think that he'd have to spare the other auto attack, but Fantastic teleport to tie that one up 1-for-1. But again, Swift taking the gold into the jungle.
Smart as well that V didn't have his teleport, so Insect knew he could come in safely and at least force the trade. But Swift gets another first blood as Insect's fighting V. Swift's up here as well. That spear connects and you're dead, Insect. Who's going to get the kill? It's V this time.
Swift trying to take it, though. That was pretty cheeky as opposed to letting his top laner tie that one up. Now, it's also really important. Never mind, he doesn't have the wave push in. I was going to say, not only did he tie up the kill 1-for-1, but he was going to deny all of the CS into the tower there, although he does have a sizable lane built up.
Yeah, looking good here. V31 to 18 CS as Insect returns.
Okay, there he goes.
With just a Sightstone.
Now this is incredibly punishing because, again, not only did he kill his top laner, but he misses that entire wave, and Insect just burned his teleport into the mid lane, so bad news bears.
Yeah, bad news indeed here. Throws the last sapling in, puts it into the wave, and Huey just has to go up there and collect whatever he can from it. Nami and Zero as well. Definitely winning down early on in the bottom side of the map, being really annoying, trying to slow stack this wave and then just force TNT away off it. He's already, as the wave hits the tower, about 20 CS behind.
That said, TNT was in a very similar situation last game on Vayne. Obviously on Sivir it's typically different because you just farm the creep waves. Oh, nice
TCT
flash.
double flay, but that might be the kill. The grab's on there as well. TCT's low. He wants the kill, but he can't quite force it. Nami, though, still fighting TNT, and King hold their ground.
A beautiful double flay from TCT to pull them into tower aggro. Unfortunately, miscommunication from Zero and Nami. They weren't able to juggle the tower aggro correctly. You saw Zero step forward looking for the auto attack, but he thought Nami had aggro and immediately had to flash backwards out of it. So TCT gets that with his life, is now healing up with pots, but very, very close call.
Yeah, the only flash left in the only summoner, left in the bottom lane is TNT's flash as well. As Korn has been forced back early. He went back at 13 minutes and got a static shiv in the last game, but been forced back already and had to go into the quick Avarice Blade. Versus double cloth armor there for Doinby, who can build some AP items still if he wants. Swift in the top side once more onto Insect, and Rise is a sitting duck at this point. He does some damage, but the kill is going to go over to V once again.
Ganking a Maokai lane is super easy when you're Lee Sin or Nidalee because the Twisted Advance gives you a free skill shot. Very potent, obviously, with either of those two champions because you can follow up with your execute ability.
Yep, and your skill shots do all the damage. So it's pretty nice in there in the top half.
It's really easy to hit a non-mobile target.
Yep. Can't move from the Twisted Advances. Swift, that's 2 ganks in a row now. In fact, 3, honestly, if you include the mid lane one, who's been successful. 3-1 up here as Con and Doinby going to have a scuffle here in the mid lane, but they'll back off. For now, as Node looks pretty tanky at this point. Between
his shield and his 2 cloth armors, this is pretty much untouchable. You can't do anything to Nautilus. He's just going to free farm. So the idea is what will Doinby bring to his team come these big 5v5s? Because last game, Doinby had a fantastic performance on his Victor, but Xiaogu just couldn't organize themselves correctly when they had a gold lead into a true 5v5 against King. This time around, he's on a champion that has so much utility to empower his team, but will it connect?
Well, I guess we'll find out soon as QG go back, do their first few shots, and they're up 1,000 gold already. Blue buff does go to Doinby.
Curious that they're actually giving it to the Nautilus.
Yeah, again, Doinby quite tanky right now, but that might just be a laning decision. Super keen to see where his build goes, but right now, at least for King as far as their success goes in this game, it's all in the bottom lane here. Nami and Zero are going to try real hard to carry this game.
Stacking a lot of adoration currently. I feel like Draven's passive is supposed to empower you or incentivize you to look for kills, because obviously you want to get those stacks, as we see Korn and
Speaking of, here comes Lee Sin and Yasuo. We're not a bad ganking combo. They're going to push the wave in. Time to respond, though, actually, from QG. So King are a little late on this dive, and looks like they are going to pull out. Spot Doinby here instead.
The big thing is because they don't know that where Swift is.
He's top lane, but like you said, they don't know that. Instead, they'll look for the gank onto Doinby. Just needs the Q to land. Kick will be enough though. Depth charge out. The kick goes through. Stops it with the ulti there as Korn comes in for the last breath. And Ignite is down, but it's not enough to get the kill.
Oh!
Misses the last skill shot, but Nami gets the snipe.
And that's huge because that is a Draven that's been stacking for 73 CS. And what I was just about to say is that Draven's kit is supposed to tell you to go ham and to go hard, but a lot of what will happen.
Korn's dead. Swift with a nice gank there. TCT pulls him out just in time as he barely lives against the caster creeps.
But a lot of time what will happen is Draven will just passively farm until the big dragon fight and then just clip that adoration stack in the initial 5v5 and make major bank. So Nice to see Name actually getting involved with some aggressive play as opposed to just sitting this one out.
We've seen his Jinx ult be on point there as far as global pressure goes, so nice use of the Draven ult there, but just casually firing up one more wave as he's gone back. TNT's got a BF Soul, that's not too bad. Brawler's Glove in there as well for
Looking
the
for
quick
that
Avarice
Avarice.
Blade.
Yeah.
But Name back with a 20 CS lead and 3,000 gold. There's a BF Sword. There's a Vampiric Scepter.
And there will soon be a Bloodthirster.
Boots, dagger, yep, Bloodthirster
Oh my
first.
god, he's rich.
He's really, I mean, makes sense, right? Like you said, stacking up the adoration and cashing in the gold. Name's first check is cashed, and he is flush with items right now.
And speaking of builds, let's take a look at Doinby right now. You got the Ninja Tabby and the completed Glacial Shroud.
He has one mission. Shut down Colin's Yasuo. Apparently was not a fan of it in the last game.
This is effectively top lane Nautilus in that mid lane, save for the biscuits.
Yep. I mean, it's not the craziest thing. Nautilus is actually a reasonably good laner. And like you said, he brings a lot from support with all his CC.
He says
but
reasonably. He's an absurd laner.
Yeah.
He's got crazy control of the creep wave with his Riptide, and as well as controlling the minion wave, he then gets to punch you in the face 3 times.
Actually, blue buff, though, getting fought over here as Insect going to throw some CC out. Korn, Windwall's a little late. Kick out, though, actually, just to disengage Doinby. Depth charges
That's
down.
gonna
It's
get
going to land
ult
onto
too.
Korn. Swift's going to dive in for the kill. Insect supercharge takes the next one there, and Insect just going to keep rolling out damage here, but Doinby doing enough. The CC train is massive, and they're just going to dive in. Huey's going to die as well. Doinby will go in for the trade, but Zero couldn't make it in time.
Likewise, TNT and TCT rotating up to take this blue buff. We'll see if they then rotate into the mid lane to try to shove that one out.
Yep. I mean, ceding the lane to Name, but TNT had already lost this lane against the Draven, so blue buff will go to Xiaogu. Name will get himself a tower. The gold's actually going to equalize as a result. As Doinby has 3 more cloth armors. That's 4. Yeah, it's 4. 4 total. So 2 of those are going to be a Warden's mount because he's building Frozen Heart.
The classic
One's for fun.
4 shirt build.
Yeah, he has, if you include like all the cloth armors in his recipes, he has 5 total in his inventory. 1 for the Shroud, 1 for the Ninja Tabby, and just 3 hanging out.
And in a second,
He really doesn't like Korn.
in a second, I'm sure we're going to see how much armor he's got sitting on him with all of those shirts
A lot. 157.
at 11 minutes in the game.
It's not bad. I mean, he could have more.
Problem is that you still have to deal with this Rise, and if you look at where all the gold is allocated on King, majority of it is still in Insect's pocket. Now we do see Name with a decent lead, obviously with his CS being the highest in the game, as well as having his completed Bloodthirster, but you know, Rise will eventually be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, Insect's building up damage. You saw it just in the last little gank. This was some base items he was able to dish out. Pretty good damage with that passive proccing as Xiaogu move in to clear out a ward. Korn does have his static shift, so he's sort of good to go. It's the first phase of his build, I guess, if you want to think about it that way. But QG are onto the dragon. They're going to look to take it away.
Huey is set up behind the pit, does have a weaker smite than Swift. That said, Lee Sin does have the execute ability in conjunction with his smite as King move on top of this.
Fairly even, I guess. There as the teleport does come down. Insect gets locked up. TCT's going to get ulted in. Zero will actually get the kill for that, but the CC's pretty good. Nice reset there as Insect's already into the mix doing damage. Korn trying to find some knockups, does get some in there, and Swift dives in, but it's too far, and they can't get kills. V diving in, takes out Lee Sin, but a 2-for-1 team fight win for King.
King positioned perfectly, had their front line completely zoning Xiaogu off, and Name was effectively untouched with that fight. He walked in there with that amount of mana and health.
And a Bloodthirster.
And a
was able to do
Bloodthirster.
pretty good damage there. King, unfortunately, a little low, going to have to back themselves off from the dragon, but at least I know it off from QG. You actually take their time to rotate into the mid lane. Korn, nice wind wall, going to deny Siva as Nautilus is forced to flash out from that.
But look at how confident Doinby is.
Oh, Zero in trouble. Swift going to get chunked out, but it's not enough here. Doinby's still running in. Gets Korn there. He's going to have to win wall again, but he doesn't have it. Nami going to get chased down. The flash from TNT is going to give himself the double, and that will give QG back control of the dragon.
Okay, so Swift was obviously the guy who made the crazy play right there, but Doinby is putting Xiaogu on his back right now with this Nautilus mid pick. Just super confident. As soon as he saw where King was, you see that TNT looks to back off. Doinby's like, no, we're fighting.
Yeah, and that's what happened. I mean, Nautilus really tanky even without items. I'm sure support players know that. Immense amount of CC. With a casual 14-minute Frozen Heart, Xiaogu get the dragon.
Ridiculous amounts of armor. Not only, obviously, will that empower him against Korn and Name, But likewise, it opens up so many dive options, and we've already seen Doinby going crazy ham. Again, this is the guy who started out as the Morgana main, the supportive mid laner style. He's on a support champion, but this is a bloodthirsty play style.
It is. And, you know, Doinby was described to me, despite all the early Morgana Lulu picks, as having actually being a versatile player. I believe that was one of his traits in the LPL, and Hughie was sort of coming up and qualifying for this particular split as Hughie.
You're not thinking about it. Look at that. I dare you.
I want you. Please. Come on, Yasuo. Let's see what happens. Spoiler alert, nothing.
And he's already seen how dangerous it is to dive Nautilus. In the initial dive where Huey gave up first blood, the only reason why he went down there is because diving Nautilus, you eat that staggering blow from the auto attack, and you take an extra turret shot.
Yeah, or 2, or 7.
12.
There's Korn. Oh, good win wall. Gets that one just in time there to stop the Dread Flame. But
that's down for 22 seconds.
yeah, Korn is just relegated to farming this wave out. His turret's actually taking damage now as well. Can't get the last CS because Doinby.
Oh, you think the tower will save you?
How cute.
I just have a 5-lane range targetable ultimate that knocks everything up, and there's no way to escape it.
Well, King going to try and defend this tower, but like you mentioned,
I'm a big fan of Nautilus.
Tricky against the Nautilus, to say the least. Clear out the way for now, but not sure that tower's going to hold on much longer here.
The question is, Xiaogu have a ticking timer on their damage. So we've already seen Doinby, making plays in the early game, but that's fairly easy when people don't have their resistances up, they don't have their levels, and Nautilus's damage can still compare. Late game, a Frozen Heart Ninja Tabi Nautilus isn't going to be doing much for you. Likewise, you have a low damage AD carry, respectively compared to Draven and Sivir, and then a Maokai top lane. If this game goes to 30, 40, 50 minutes, Xiaogu don't have a lot of options in terms of actually killing people.
I mean, you can kill them by just CCing them and outliving them. We've seen that from EDG a couple of times, but you're right. That's a hard ask here as the tower is going to fall down. TNT gets himself the tower. 3,000 gold up now for Xiaogu. And Name and his relatively rich Draven struggling to outpace the Nautilus.
Xiaogu, though, doing a great job recognizing that they need to strike now, start building up this massive gold lead so they can stay ahead in their resistances and their damage items before King have a chance to ramp up. Because again, late game, Yasuo, Draven, and Ryze are going to be a massive problem.
And I like that you mentioned Ryze, because Doinby does not have magic resist at this point. I'm actually very surprised that they didn't swap Insect into the mid lane.
Yeah, I was actually really shocked.
Because, I mean, Korn had his static give it a good clip. He could have just started split pushing, but instead stayed in his mid lane. Again, we talk about King. The depth, as far as the team goes strategically, might be one of the things they're lacking at this point as a team. And I feel like given that they don't lane swap very much, they're comfortable in standard lanes, but could struggle to adapt to someone like Doinby, who is a very versatile player.
I definitely think that's a very fair speculation to make of King. They haven't shown a lot of competitive styles or strategies.
But they've shown strong team fighting, at least in Game 1, and they've got a good team fighting comp this time. They made the Game 1 comp work, which looked a little crazy, and they do have to battle through quite a lot of CC as Name does not want anything to do with this. And rightfully going for last whisper second with a pickaxe in his inventory.
I'm really curious. It seems like a disconnect between TNT and Doinby. Obviously, one of them is Korean, one of them is Chinese.
Korn actually gets locked up. He's going to dive in on top of him. Insect gets exhausted. Damage not quite there. Insect getting low. Will just live there. No, TNT still able to take him out. But Korn takes out Swift. Name's kiting back. But Doinby's just too tanky, I think. Korn lives for a little while longer, but TNT goes untouched so far. Name getting flash CC'd up there by Doinby, still trying to run himself away. But 3 members of King are already dead. A good stand aside from Name, going to be answered by a nice kill from TNT.
Doinby is unstoppable right now in these team fights. Name doing everything he can to kite back and allow his team enough time to tear through the tankiness that Xiaogu have already built up. But Doinby flashing forward onto the AD carry, making sure that he gets that staggering blow, leads them to the team fight as well as the mid-tier tower.
And Huey couldn't do anything in that fight. You saw him there just at the Krugs. You just fight started. He's like, yeah, I don't really like what's happening, as you'll see.
And again, look at this. Doinby's the guy who starts the fight. And the reason why I was saying that there's a bit of a disconnect is because the On the Hunt came out so earlier. Doinby's been looking for a team fight this entire time. So here we go. King gets shoved down into this tiny little choke point. Look at the Venn diagram of the Riptide as well as the Vengeful Maelstrom. There's the flash forward. Name can't do anything. He already dodged the death sentence. But from here, you're done.
Yeah. Dredgeline lands. Doinby collects the kill. Actually, it's TNT. He says, thank you very much for the setup, Doinby. And that's what he's been doing, sending things up nicely. He's got a Warden's Mail building in for a random Zero. Zero's forced to flash.
Just running straight at people. He wants to fight 24/7.
Yeah, Doinby has one mode now. And still kept up in CS as well. So King is struggling to make a dent into this Nautilus. Is 3-1. The advantage in towers. Upper Dragon as well. And 15-7 in kills. Converts for about 6k in current gold lead there for Xiaogu. And King just need to hold on, buy some time, and get their items. Because if they get them, they can outpace this. But right now, Doinby, like you said, he's unstoppable.
And Xiaogu are doing such a great job speeding up the pace of this game. They start to rotate down towards the red buff. But more importantly, that last standing outer turret is what they want.
And I feel like Huey's just not been able to have the impact on the game that we saw him in the Gragas. And he was good late game there. His ultimates were good. And even though his gank pressure's been a little wanting in the series, he needs to make stuff happen in the late game. Because King, right now, they're just sort of relegated to farming the waves, getting those items, and hoping to pick a fight when it matters.
It is all about the stall now for King, like you said. Farming up, making sure they're itemized. Stacking specifically for Rise, has his row completed as well as that tier available. So once those items are both powered up and online, we'll see if King are maybe able to find a better footing in these 5v5s.
Yeah. I mean, Rise still scaling, Corn building in for Blade of the Rune King second. I like the choice against all the tanks here from Xiaogu, and Name knows exactly what he wants. This is a pretty common Draven build anyway, but Last Whisper is especially crucial in this game.
Just empowering those axes to make sure they hit as hard as possible. TNT being some... Oh, actually, wow. Okay, so speaking of kind of different builds, TNT looking for the Phantom Dancer as opposed to the Static Shiv on the Sivir.
I think he has to, because he knows that he needs to make up for the damage for his team. That is the one thing that Xiaogu maybe don't do enough of, especially towards the late game.
It's just super curious. I mean, when you can get back or get down into kind of the nitty-gritty math of Phantom Dancer. Hold on.
TNT, though, is going to pop his ulti and run it. Name gets crit a couple times, but the exhaust is there from TCT. Damage is good. Name can't get away. He made it close, though.
Was in the animation for the ultimate right there to trade 1-for-1, but great CC from TCT. TCT.
Yeah.
Man, more? Why couldn't you just...
Why couldn't you just stick with more?
Why couldn't you just keep the... anyway. The math between Static Shiv and Phantom Dancer, obviously Phantom Dancer is going to be the more damage because you're paying for the crit difference, as well as kind of the unique passive running through the creeps. But on Sivir specifically, because you're using On the Hunt, it empowers to get more Static Shiv procs up because you're moving faster. So I feel like... in a straight, no one's moving, obviously the Phantom Dancer is going to be better, but with Sivir specifically, having the On the Hunt, moving that much faster, being able to stack Static Shiv more potent.
Seems like a trade between like consistent damage and burst damage.
Yeah.
I think you're... Yeah, I mean, it makes sense from TNT what he's doing for both ways.
Yeah.
He also has a Warden's Mail. They're on sale, apparently, in Xiaogu's Nexus. They have 3 of them already.
I used to do this on Sivir back. Do you remember that build where people would take Warmogs and it gave you health on the amount of farm that you had?
And then you build Atmas?
Yeah, yep. Frozen Atmogs.
Yes.
And then you would have Banshee Veil on Sivir, and you would just farm for 45 minutes, and then you'd have Banshee Veil as well as Spell Shield, and you were just unkillable.
You're a bad person.
Was that season 2?
1 or 2. You're awful. Why would you do that to anyone?
TNT's got a Warden's Mail.
Who does?
Draven's not doing anything to him. He's looking for that 1v1 duel.
Well, he's got the Last Whisper now, but I don't know if that's enough to cut through quite all of the armor that QG have stacked up. Just add insult to injury, by the way. V has also got a Frozen Heart, so Warden's Mail's everywhere for QG. 3 of the 5 members. I'm sure Swift is coming up next. Or, you know what? Probably TCT. He's got one coming in as well.
I wish they would just put their pink inside the pit. That's the second time in this series that happened in the first game for King that a Baron has been spotted out by a corner green ward. Remember to sweep, kids.
Yep. Use your sweepers.
Sweep responsibly.
Responsibly. So you can see that ward just poking its head over near the Baron. Can't be spotted there by QG's pink ward. Look at the Scuttle Crab though, a bit more vision as Kings still need that time to stack up, and they've fallen pretty significantly behind in gold at this point in the game. 8,000 gold behind and counting, as QG are not stopping anytime soon.
They do have great wave clear though in the form of Rise. That said, it's not the safest wave clear because obviously Draven's not going to have the same AoE pushing potential that a Sivir will. And likewise, Yasuo can clear waves, but he needs to use his flow to get on top of them, so he can't do it from a safe distance.
Yeah, I mean, Windwall is not a bad tool in either a siege or a counter siege, but like you said, pretty long cooldown, about 22 seconds or so. So it'll take some time. They'll do a decent job here clearing things out. Zero of all people is going to make it actually a little tricky to bust down these turrets, but QG are in absolutely no rush at this point in the game.
Yeah, right now they're trying to set up multiple pressure points, which is why you see V running down to that bottom wave to kind of pick up and clean that out. He should be creating a slow push into the opposite direction before he joins his team. And what I assume Xiaogu will be doing is once V creates a slow push, they'll pace that around the Baron and kind of wait for Insect to make a positional error.
Should have just enough time to do it as well, as Dragon's up in a minute 50, where they want to be back in the bottom half of the map. But King have not found their first Dragon yet. QG are on track for 5 Dragons as well, which is a nice way to make up for your all-tank composition damage.
This is entirely defeated. Xiaogu are losing so much pressure and momentum on the map simply because the Baron pit is warded. The game has been stalled out for 2 to 3 minutes because of a single ward.
And like we said, King, really at this point all they need is time, and they might need quite a bit of it, but Seraphs has transformed up for Insect. Blade of the Ruin King's done now for Korn. Name's had his 2 items for a while. He can keep farming up and move into his next big item. Like, things are happening here for King at least. And Zero's even got his Magi's ready to get some stacks there as well. So things are looking good for King if they can hold on, but still a massive deficit.
When did he pick that Magi's up? Was that his second rotation?
Probably.
I was going to say the young 25-minute Magi's.
Maybe. I mean, Zero had a last game and actually built up quite a lot of AP. I don't remember how many times he died.
Yeah, but I guarantee you didn't pick it up in 25 minutes.
No. Oh, no. Well, look at his build. His Sightstone, Moby Boots, Spell Thief's Edge. That's like a 15-minute Magi's.
There's no Guardian Angel in there. Where is Zero? What have you done with him? Here we go. We've got the push.
Hook misses. Name eats a spear though. Korn forced a wind wall. Can't really do much with that.
Teleport.
TCT gets kicked over, but Name's just trying to do damage. Gets exhausted though. Huey's trying to kite them off, but the depth charge is too much, and it's just too much CC. Huey now going to be the next one to go down as TNT takes him out. Korn going to be the next victim as Insect's late to the party. QG get 3 kills, and that's about all they'll need.
We talk about all of the armor that Xiaogu have on their side, and it's just impossible to get through that tank line as well as the CC. And we're just waiting for Insect to take off. He does have his Archangels online as well as the Rod of Ages. But Maokai, the Maokai ultimate on top of the stacking armor pretty much negates any sort of damage output that King are able to front.
Yep, and it's been no damage for King all game long, it feels like. As Insect trying something here. Maybe a Baron still might get a kill into TCT for his trouble. Flashes for it. Can't find it though. Just going to get CC'd up forever. Does dodge the hook, but Baron will go to Xiaogu. Insect will die. That'll be 4 kills and a Baron for Xiaogu, and just add insult to injury, make it 10,000 plus gold ahead as well.
It's just impossible to escape them with all of the frozen hearts as well as the chain CC of Nautilus and Maokai, and then you're outputting damage through Swift's Nidalee, you know, going the Runeglaive Hourglass Void. So you have your burst damage if those
TNT's
that was
finished
cheeky.
his Randuins. It's finished.
The kite. It makes so much sense. You have so many slow items, especially even on TNT Sever with the Randuin's Omen, and again, they don't have a super big burst team. If you hit a spear, you're going to chunk someone, but otherwise it's about whittling them down and chasing them down. So how do you do that? You slow everyone, and you just make yourself unkillable.
Yeah. QG going to get Dragon number 3 as TNT and his Randuins right in towards King's currently empty red buff.
They're ruining solo queue for everyone right now.
Yes.
So many Randuin Severs.
I mean,
so many Nautilus mid.
If you take a step back, QG's drafting in like item builds this game are really smart.
No, I'm loving this.
Yeah? It's so awkward that like not only a King like just struggling against all of these frozen hearts. They're just gonna go in this time. Zero's dead. Huey gonna get chased down for the next kill as Domi is just rushing in there. They found Name, can't dodge any of this. He'll be the next kill there as Domi actually collects him. Insect's gonna dive in. He gets a kill onto the support. Gonna try and make it good, but can't get another one. And there's the ace for Xiaogu.
And again, we talked about how there's no MR, but you have the Maokai ultimate there to deny Rise. And King, we talked about, you know, if they get to late game, they have a ton of damage threats. But at this point, they're so far behind in gold that they can't keep up with the resistances. Everyone on Xiaogu are, you know, 2-3 items ahead of their counterparts.
I don't even know if late game King could have easily dealt with this given how tanky everyone is, but we're not going to find out today here. Xiaogu are going to take game number 2 in very stylish fashion. It's not just Domi here that's good to look at, it's the item builds as well.
Doinby with a fantastic performance on that Nautilus mid. I have to go back. Obviously, across the board, we talked about this multiple times with Xiaogu. Anyone can carry from that team. It's part of the reason why they're tied for first place, especially as they split the series here. But Doinby, wow. Great performance on Victor despite the fact that they lost the first game. Really picking it up with Nautilus and proving that he's not a supportive style mid laner. He can take a support mid, but he has murder in his eyes.
Always. Murder in his adorable, adorable eyes. There's Xiaogu, really creative game number 2 there. I'm not sure they had to pull out the Nautilus into the Yasuo, but you can tell after that game number 1, QG were like, you know what? Pretty sure we can bet you into Yasuo here, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and you talked about, do you take away the Yasuo against King just because it's been played pretty much every single time? But Xiaogu, you're like, you know what? Let him have it.
Pretty sure we figured it out. And the answer was mid-Nautilus. I'm sorry to Solcu players around the world. Your life is now ruined.
I know what I'm playing tonight.
Oh.
Because a different build, though. So, again, we talked about how top Nautilus goes for the reliance of the double Dorns, and it's more about empowering the Riptide, but empowering his Titan's Wrath, the shield, taking all of that armor up front, and then extending it through the course of the team fight, not only on the Nautilus, but even on Sivir. Pretty crazy stuff from Xiaogu. I bet it was them who played AP Maokai. I'm going to check on that.
It probably was, and QG take a really nice game there, but don't go too far away. When we return, it'll be a rematch of our grand final